Tuned in to Bradford. This is BCB 106.6.
Hi, my name is Heather and welcome to Movie Madness. Today I have two guests, Mohsin and Finn.
Hello.
Hi guys.
So today we wanted to talk about how people are portrayed and depicted in films today. And I think Mohsin wanted to start off that topic. But before that, we're going to listen to Out of Control by 50 Cent. And then we'll get started on that topic. So yeah, you guys okay with that?
Yep.
And we're back. So the issue today with so we're gonna talk about the issue of depiction and how different races are portrayed in films. So, for example, when Martin Scorsese released Goodfellas, there was a big issue with the Italians because they thought that they were being misrepresented in the film. And also, I think in Lawrence of Arabia, when that came out, like in the 60s, it was banned in like Saudi Arabia and Turkey and stuff before I think the director went there. I forgot, David Lean. He went to Saudi Arabia and showed them the movie. Then they realized themselves that it wasn't offensive. So then they put it out in all the cinemas.
Right.
So yeah. So like, what do you think we should say about that today?
Finn, would you want to go first or?
No.
Right. Okay. Going back to when you was talking about the Martin Scorsese thing. He's obviously, of course, an Italian American himself. So, and at that time in America, they're quite a minority, and as you probably know, the Italians were mainly based around in New York, and he grew up in Queens himself, which is the ghetto life, and so obviously he grew up understanding how they lived their life, which made it a masterpiece, really, the movie, because he really brought his experience from either seeing or being involved in and manifesting it into the visuals. So that's what made Goodfellas what it was, and you know. So
he gave the heart into it, innit?
Yeah, he definitely put the heart and soul, as the director should, anyways, as well. Yeah. But the backlash was mainly obviously, as you said, it was from the Italian Americans that thought, you know, we're here and as a minority, you know, we don't want to be depicted as these violent gangbangers and the people that just, you know, walk around lunatics, because we're actually hardworking people.
Yeah.
9 to 5 that we'd like to call them. And we believe this is just a false depiction, and we don't want people frowning upon us just because of what you made. And I think personally that Scorsese was nailed down to the ground with this, but it was worse because he's an actual Italian American himself, and it was supposed to be seen as he should be representing the Italian American community as something positive, rather than, you know, presenting him as this vulgar group and this just hot-headed group. Yeah. So that's what it was. Yeah.
So like, what do you think, Finn? What do you have to say about that, what he just said?
I ain't got much to say, honestly. I'm not really clued up on the whole American-Italian culture, really, and I'm not really a massive...
I mean, neither am I, but I guess if you take it, like, imagine if you were just a small community amongst loads, and then, you know, there's this blockbuster movie and goes out and everybody takes it as gospel truth, which is what people do, which is what consumers and viewers tend to do, to be honest with you. They just see things and they be like, wow, okay, because it's got a name to it, it must mean something. And, you know, you tell a lie once and tell it twice, tell it 3 times, it actually becomes believable at the end of it, to be fair.
And he did. When he made Goodfellas, he basically, when he showed that group of people, Italians, and then he only showed them as gangsters. He didn't show them as anything else. He didn't show like the normal people or like the working class ones or like the teachers or whatever. He just showed the gangsters, and it had a massive effect at the time, because I've heard like after that movie came out, people would like all try to do like Italian accents and shit and stuff.
Yeah. That's what I've heard as well.
To pretend to be gangsters, isn't it? Because that's just like the cultural impact movies have.
Yeah, I suppose still to this day, often I've heard a lot of references in terms of just New York in general, like regardless of gangster, whatever. Like the American-Italian culture is often sort of jokes about, you know, the whole coffee, like, you joke and have a coffee.
Yeah, things like that. And that comes from, a lot of it comes from Joe Pesci's accent in the film,
Yeah. But I can definitely see an understanding from someone who is from that culture, but obviously not, like, affiliated with gangs, you know, things that are, like, often referenced in Goodfellas.
I mean, you see, there's a fine line in that as a director. I mean, it must be really hard for Scorsese himself. Like, you know, maybe he just had he had this genius idea of, you know, I want to blow it out and kick it out of the park with this one, you know, putting this down from my experience or what I know, but then having to think on the flip side, it's a double-edged sword, you know, where it's going to have an impact on my community. But, like, for example, I was reading up and it was saying there was people that there was so much violence and gore that they couldn't take it initially, especially the Italian Americans, the way they were depicted. They'd walk out of the cinemas and they just go apeshit at Scorsese, and there'd be articles and stuff just talking about that. So I don't know how he must have dealt with it and how he took it, but I guess it's a piece of art, isn't it?
I feel like that happens all the time when something new comes out, though, innit?
Yeah.
When you try to break through with a new genre, so people, they don't automatically just start accepting it.
It's just like a big ruckus at the start, isn't it? It's just like,
I definitely feel audiences as well need to realise that he's only just focusing on that element as well. Like, that he isn't saying that everyone in this culture is like that.
Yeah.
Like, that isn't what he's saying. That's the audience taking, like, what they are seeing and interpreting that for themselves.
Yeah.
In a way. So, like, yeah, he is focusing on the gangs, the violence, but people also need to know that he isn't doing this, well, that anyone's aware, he isn't doing that on purpose to sort of, not idolise, but sort of, like, close in that culture.
Yeah.
And make people think that that is the only thing that's going on. Audiences need to realise that there is more to life than that, like, because they are being very closed off about it. Thinking
I would personally agree, yeah. And you know, it's not always a win-win situation, is it?
No,
I mean, he couldn't have just put this gangster movie out with these characteristics and then had on the flip side, oh, there's a good guy, good Italian. It just wouldn't. The energy has to be distributed or dispersed in certain areas. It can't just be thrown off everywhere.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is a piece of art. You know, it is a film. It isn't. I don't know if it's based off true events or whatever, but
it was based off a book. I guess some bits are fabricated ever so slightly, but
but what I'm saying is, it is a film. It is mostly fiction.
Yeah.
People need to understand that. You know what I mean?
It's actually quite factual because a lot of it is based off a real.
No, I know, but it isn't a non-fiction piece of work. It isn't like a documentary like Attenborough or something.
Yeah.
It is a piece of fiction.
People who make documentaries, they have a much bigger responsibility than people who make movies.
Yeah, because they've got to tell facts.
Yeah, and their aim isn't to entertain.
Sorry.
Their aim is to
inform
and like educate instead of entertain. And there's this thing I heard, somebody was having an argument like this, and they were saying once a filmmaker puts it out there, it's not his anymore, it's the audience's to interpret. No matter what he meant.
Yeah.
What they take is what they take. He can't go to every cinema and say, no, this is what I meant.
I can see that, but then what he portrayed was what was meaningful to him, so it is still his.
It is his, yeah, because his name's on it.
Yeah. It's not even just that, it was his, your name can't be on it, but your initial idea, everything, your concept, that's all yours, all that's come spiraled from your head, so you can't really run away from, in my opinion, you can't really run away from the monster you've created, if that makes sense. But I think it goes back to what you were saying, it's mainly based on perception and what you perceive from it. I think the non-Italian American probably perceived it as must have been a big split, that some probably perceived it as, you know, the radical ones, not even necessarily radical, the naive ones were probably like, oh, they all like this. And then the Italian Americans probably heard a bit of that, like, you know, going on, and they were probably just turned on Scorsese, like, you know, how could he do that? Even if it's just one of them that's thinking that we don't come here with all this intention, we come here as a working class family to provide for our kids, you know, so they have a better life here than they do back home.
So it's that, but yeah, I could see how they could get offended by that.
Oh, definitely.
I could see it. It's like Citizen Khan, innit?
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. It's like that guy is not even a Pakistani
himself. Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on Citizen Khan today?
As a Pakistani myself.
Yeah.
British Pakistani, born, raised here, proud British Pakistani. Yeah. I think it's what must happen in these events for me. There must be a true depiction of what they are, and then if you want to branch off and make your own, and you know, like, for example, I'll just say, if there was a documentary, I think this should happen, or something based around what Pakistanis actually are and what they represent. And then if you want to make jokes out of it, or you want to make your own comedy side out of it, at least give the people the options of viewing two different things at once. And
I'd say there was it was a fair few years ago now, but there was a documentary, I think it was Making Bradford British. And I suppose that did touch on the sort of differences in cultures. Like, and obviously that's, you know, that is a piece of non-fiction, so that did touch on the realities more. Yeah. Well, for me anyway, as like a white British male, like, I saw that as a lot more truthful. But like, how did you take that?
I mean, because of that was quite a while ago, wasn't it? It was about several years ago now. I can't really.
Was that the one with that woman?
Yeah. I'm sure it
with
was,
that woman.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely, there was one major figure in there that was a female.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about, but seeing as it's quite a while ago and I might have to revisit it, I have watched it, I might have to revisit it, so I'm not knowledgeable enough, or I don't have the prerequisites to speak about it. But yeah, I see where you're coming from, obviously. But that's just personally how I feel, because I can kind of sympathise with what we were, not to backtrack too much, what we were talking about with the Italian Americans.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's not fair, because the way I was taught and raised was to grow up and respect all people and, you know, respect culture as well. And I think things like Citizen Khan, like, for example, when I didn't watch it after this, I just watched this one little segment and I thought, fuck this, I'm off.
Yeah.
Can I swear?
No.
Okay, sorry about that. Scrap this. I'm not gonna watch this again. My bad. But on about that segment, it was where the main character himself is praying, or his wife is praying, and he.
Would that mean make Bradford British or Citizen Khan?
Citizen Khan, sorry. Let me just make that specific. But he do some. I don't want to say it to give him the satisfaction of me saying it, but he did something that's quite rude and you shouldn't really do, whilst praying especially. And after that, it was a big like, I can't watch this.
It creates a negative image in it, because like people who don't have the knowledge, like they haven't grown up Muslim, they don't know in it, like other people who are outside it, or like younger kids.
Or
even.
Pakistani in general, yeah, they wouldn't understand.
Yeah, so if they see that from the outside, and that's different to Goodfellas, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
That's 100% different, because that's not giving it's not showing like something that's like, even in Goodfellas they're made to look respectable. You know what I mean? Even though they're doing like bad stuff,
I agree.
At least they give them the respect.
One of the major themes in that movie is respect, money, power, respect, and all that stuff.
And I feel like there could be an argument against the respect aspect, because he's making a comedy show and it's not action and thriller and stuff. But even if it's comedy, at least like show respect. Like,
yeah,
it's not hard to do.
They
both
don't necessarily have to do that, because it is an art at the end of the day. But there has to be, I think, not even a polarizing figure, but a figure from the Pakistani culture. I think this is where we've gone wrong, that speaks up appropriately about these certain issues and how we're being depicted. I don't think there's anyone that's really standing up and saying anything.
Yeah.
But
or the people who are, it's too quiet in it.
I mean, look, as they say, opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's gonna have one, so you can't really, you can't really have a win-win. But what do you think about that, Finn? What do you think about the whole culture difference? And obviously, us two, me, Heather, Pakistani, what do you see, if there's any similarities or differences or any blatant things that you see that we don't, or whatever? I don't know. You can elaborate if you want.
Well, I don't know. I suppose in Citizen Khan it is like a huge caricature, if you will, of like cultures. Like, it's not, as you say, it's not like a realistic depiction.
Yeah.
And again, it comes down to the audiences needing to understand, like, being educated. Because if that's all they're getting, like, if that's the only information they're getting about like that culture and that life, and that's misleading, that can, like, it can lead to confusion. It can lead to even sort of eventually, discriminate.
Because it's already hate against this type of community in it.
Yeah.
So it's not helping that.
It just builds a big, like, little fandom or whatever you want to call it, or a little group of people that are just attacking, and that's not good, because the cultural impact is that also if a mother sees this of 2 kids, she's gonna tell her 2 kids, and then they're gonna tell their friends in school, and it just becomes something that it doesn't have to be. And not to go too much into my history or anything, but I went to a Catholic school myself, and I've had a lot of people come up to me and ask me certain questions, which I'm more than happy to answer, but it can be quite intimidating for others, because I, for myself, I'm quite a talkative person, and I don't mind discussing discussing issues with people, or not even issues, just talking. And if we have a dispute, or if we have a whatever, I just like a discussion. And it could be quite daunting, or it could be quite intimidating for other Pakistani males, that I ask these questions. Maybe they might have the knowledge, but they don't have the bravery, or they don't have the mouth or the words to get it out there. And when another person sees that person can't do that, it just makes it more of a point to them that they all like this, you ain't even got an answer for it. So I do think it, not to go off on a different tangent, but I do think that's a major thing as well from my personal experience.
I do think we can't really blame Citizen Khan itself, because it's not the first. They're like Bora and Ali G and stuff like that. But it's all different stuff. But I feel like Citizen Khan was more culturally impactful in our 100%. Area. Because there are so many people pretending to be Mr. Khan. And for me, it was different because I was younger in it when it came out. I was like in year 7. So it didn't hit me straight away that they're taking like the mick. But my dad was with me in it, and he's like, "What are you watching?"
Yeah.
So, like, he was with me then, and it was just like he didn't like it at all. And at that time, I was like, "Why don't you like it?" So I would watch it on my own when he wasn't there. But then later on, as I grew up, as I got to like year 10, year 11, I was just thinking like, it is like what's it called, disrespectful.
It definitely is. Definitely is. At least from our standpoint.
Yeah. So that's what our cultural like
Impact type of thing was.
discussion.
all about, yeah.
So now we'll listen to Post Malone's Better Now, unless you have any other comments on this situation.
No, I think I'm all finished up there.
Yeah, I'm off. I could go all day, but yeah, I'm finished with this today. Yeah.
So after this song, we're going to talk about recently in the news, Spielberg has said that he doesn't like Netflix, and he doesn't like that their films are getting Oscars too. So we're going to have a discussion about that after this song, which is Post Malone's Better Now. And we're back. Sorry for the wait. So now our topic's gonna be Spielberg versus Netflix. So I was saying before, like we were talking about this before, and we was talking about whether you'd rather watch a movie in the cinemas or you'd rather watch it at home. Like if you had the option, if a movie just came out new and you could watch it at home, you didn't have to go cinemas, would you still go cinemas?
It depends on the film that I'm wanting to watch, because I do think cinemas do provide that extra immersive experience.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like all the advertising rubbish, but genuine for me, there are some films that I just much more enjoy in the cinemas than I do just watching on my telly at home.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's a different experience for everyone. Like it's just something about going into a dark room, you know, getting loads of popcorn, like a big drink. I mean, it's expensive, but
It's
like,
expensive.
yeah. But I mean, the prices are coming down for cinemas
But
in
it's
terms
like
of the tickets.
one ticket would cost 1 month of Netflix, basically.
That's the insane thing about it, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. But then again, you are, and if you're paying for Netflix, you are paying just for access for them films. When you're paying for the cinema, you're paying access for the film, which I will admit the film companies do take a huge chunk out of it, like more than they should. In terms of, well, that's why the cinemas have to charge such high prices for the suites. But like you aren't just paying for access to a film, you're also paying for the screen, you know, the sound system, like everything that goes into it. And it does depend on which cinema you're going into. Like there's some cinemas like I don't want to like take out any cinemas like on here publicly, but like there are some cinemas that are better than others and some that are quite disappointing.
There are, especially in today's world, because everything's evolving in it. Cinema, like they're going to 4K projectors and like reclining seats, and they all need to catch up. But some people go to some cinemas more than others, so some cinemas have less money, but they still need to evolve. So that's why some are getting left behind.
For me, personally, going back to the question you asked Finn, would you rather watch a movie at home or would you rather go? I do agree, cinema does provide a different type of experience.
Yeah.
And you know, the togetherness and all that stuff. But me personally, the way I like to see it is, if I could watch something in my comfort without going out my way, I'd rather do that. And it's a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a lot more convenient.
Yeah.
And
For me, at least, personally.
It's like safer. It's a place where you know you can eat what you want.
Yeah.
You can sit how you want. But the thing is, you could go to cinemas with somebody you barely know.
Yeah.
You can't take somebody home you barely know.
So
cinemas are like used as a way to meet people as well. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, cinemas are more of a social experience than obviously watching it at home.
you take people to cinemas that you won't take to your house.
Oh,
Is
definitely.
what I'm saying.
right, okay, but for me, anyways, I wouldn't really go to cinemas to converse with anyone. I just go there to.
Oh yeah, well no, you're there to watch the film, but it's not about conversing with people. It's about enjoying it together.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The laughs of the audience, like a horror film, you know, like everyone's screaming at the same time. It is about that sort
It's
of
the audience kind of thing, in it. Like how is the audience reacting? Like
It gives a different vibe, doesn't it?
yeah, and I think often it does kind of accentuate your emotions towards a film, you know, because like if you're watching like a film with like a sad ending at home, you probably won't cry, depending on what it is or like how it relates to you. But if you're in a cinema full of like, you know, like 20 other people crying,
Sparks a different emotion, doesn't it?
it sparks a different emotion. You're gonna
it's a connection you feel with the audience as well, isn't it? It's like you could watch
Yeah.
something that nobody else in your house likes, but everybody in there, you know, they're in for the ride with you.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
And it's the other thing. The other aspect of it is not everybody can afford a big TV. Not everybody can afford speakers. You could go cinemas and pay £7 and you get all of that for like 2 hours.
Well, exactly. Like when I'm watching a film at home, I'm not watching it on some like 50-inch TV with like, you know, like surround sound. I am watching it either on my phone with like my rubbish headphones in, or on my TV, which is just a regular TV. It's nothing special. It's not like
Which is
4K.
understandable on both ways. But for me personally, I see where you guys are coming from, and definitely where I guess millions of other people are coming from. But I quite like to be in my own little comfort zone, and you know, because for me, watching a movie or watching whether it's a 5-minute thing, whether it's a 20-minute thing, 2-hour thing, 4-hour thing, I see it as a personal thing.
Yeah.
So I don't want my perception to be rained upon or anything to be touched. I just want it to be mine and mine only.
Yeah.
So I guess it does depend. Like you said, if it was a horror movie, I'd probably like to go watch it on a big screen.
Yeah.
But if it's anything other than that, I like to watch it in my own comfort to build my own perception in my own head of it.
There are some movies where you watch it in cinemas and you're like, that could have been a TV movie. You know, like most comedies.
Yeah.
Most comedies you can watch on your phone. Like you don't need like a big screen, but like you know like a Stanley Kubrick or like a Quentin Tarantino movie, like a huge, like a movie that's got like loads of like production value, like a really expensive movie.
And to really show off that production value.
You couldn't see it on your phone. It wouldn't give you the same experience. You would be watching it and you might not like it as much on your phone.
No, you definitely appreciate it more on a bigger screen.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you watch a movie on your phone, like I guess, what if I watch it on my phone and I don't like the movie? But what if you go cinemas and you will like it?
Yeah.
And then that's just like, I don't know. That's the argument that's going on now, isn't it?
Well, no, that's the thing, like, because I like, there's been times I've been to the cinema, watched a film there, enjoyed it so much because of the experience, because of the sound, because of like the actual visuals. You know, you've got all that 4K HDR, you know, like surround sound. But there's, you know, I've gone back maybe like a year later, watched it at home. It's just like
boring.
Meh. It's not as enjoyable. But then again, could that be argued for watching a new film because I've already seen it? So
yeah, exactly.
Sometimes,
or the hype's gone after a year down of watching it. Yeah.
Exactly. Could you like see, like the film I was on about was I think it was The Hobbit. I think it was the second Hobbit. I mean, they're not great films, but I definitely think the hype leading up towards it, like when I was going to see it, because like I was really excited to see it. So like, and I went with my two best friends who were also really excited to see it. So that links again back to the audience. You know, everyone in there was excited to see this film.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I just watched it at home, like when it came out on DVD with my friends, it would have been like, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not as much as I would have enjoyed it with everyone else.
What do you think?
I do agree, definitely. You know, especially when there's, because these things, you know, movies are there with a certain concept, and concept comes with sparking emotion from people, and you know, movies and all these perception based things are from emotion, and your emotion was going into it like, oh look, me and the lads are, you know, where the hardcore wanting to watch this, and that brings a different energy out of you rather than just going watching something where there's no hype and you may be on your own. So I kind of understand where you're coming from. But again, I know I sound like a little simpleton, but I don't mind sitting back at home, I don't know, having a burger or something, pausing it whenever time I take a bite. I like to watch it steadily in my own pace. But not to change the topic too much, but what is exactly what is his exact point with saying, you know, Netflix movies or anything that's aired on there shouldn't be?
Like the way he's saying it is, he's saying that like Netflix is, like movies are like higher than Netflix in the tier. Like he's saying Netflix movies shouldn't be allowed to get Oscars. They should be technically getting Emmys, because he's saying Netflix is technically television, not film. So he's saying Netflix should be put in a TV category, even though Netflix is making movies like Bird Box and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like they're making their own original films, but he's saying nah, it's still they should, instead of being getting Oscars, they should be getting.
Do you guys think that tracks back to the old school mentality of the way the school of thought of the way they think, or
maybe? I think so. I think it is, because I think
the magic is being taken away from actually going to the cinema once a week, or with the friends, or with a couple of lads, your wife, whatever. Yeah. You think it's been taken away or anything, or?
I don't know. I really think you need to talk about like the definition of a film. Because, like, whether your opinions on like how it's produced, like, you know, whether it's higher produced or what, going on to a platform like Netflix, which is, you know, mostly for TV, you have to think about what is defined, like, as a film. Like, which is, you know, like, it is, like, a long, you know, one long story.
Yeah.
Or, like, several. For, like minimum 100, or, like, 90 minutes, sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Like minimum 90 minutes, you know, something longer than that. Like you have to think about like where the line is drawn, if you will.
I mean, that's really subjective, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no real set criteria, like, oh yeah, so it has to be this long, it has to be about this, and if it is about this, it has to be like this. There's everything subjective, so obviously, of course, he's got a point, especially coming from the high regard he comes from.
Yeah.
So, but you know, my opinion, I kind of do think, I'm not too educated on what we're exactly talking about, but from what I think is, I do think it goes back to the old school mentality and the old school of thought where it's like, no, stick to this, stick to our gun, stick to our way, so it doesn't lose its magic. So whatever I'm doing, I think he's saying it from his own beneficial standpoint.
Because when you're making a movie, you will make 10 times more money than you make a Netflix movie.
Definitely.
And if you're making a movie, it's under Netflix, and Netflix might be like, do this instead. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time,
Netflix is quite open though in terms of like what they let on and off, because obviously it's a digital platform.
but you don't know, because Netflix is like, it's owned by somebody. It's not like if you make a movie, you can take it to different production companies. Like if Warner Brothers don't like it, you can go to MGM or whatever.
Yeah.
If they don't like it, you can go somewhere else. But Netflix is Netflix. If they don't like it, they don't like it. Where you can, if every movie you watch is on Netflix, then where else would you put your movie?
There's
won't
no
even
many
be as
other outlets
successful.
to,
Yeah.
No.
So I think that's the fear that Spielberg might have, because he knows Netflix is taking over. Because the internet is the next generation, like you are saying. It's better to watch a movie at home.
I mean, it is, you know, the streaming based, that's completely taking over everything now.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes to, you know, to musical artists and stuff like that. Like, for example, not to talk about him all the time, but one of my favourite artists, A Boogie with Hoodie, who's a rapper from New York, America. His album was #1 in the country for 2 months, and you won't believe the hard copies he sold. He only sold, I think, about 873 something I've read, or anything between 800 and 900, under 1,000.
What year was it released in?
2018, back in December something. Back in December.
That does make sense.
And it's kind of insane that, you know, back in the day it had to be a mix, or not even back in the day, just a few years going back of it being digital and it being, you know, the hard copy sales. But I mean, it goes to, you know, the social effect. How many cars now that you buy, how many cars is it now that you buy have an actual DVD player? I mean, it's all through Bluetooth, and you connect that to your Spotify. And so I think, it is the digital era, and I think these old things are going to get wiped out sooner or later. So I do kind of, I'm still sticking to my guns with the thought of it is an old school mentality.
I suppose the way to think about it is how many DVDs did you buy last year?
Yeah.
None.
And how many hardcovers? Do any of us own any hardcovers?
I'll be completely honest with you. None. No.
I don't have any DVDs either.
No, I mean, we have DVDs, but obviously this is from like
ages ago.
This is from years ago, like when DVDs were the main way to watch things.
I have bought like Blu-rays recently, but that's because they've been like super cheap, and just so I could like, because I love Marvel in it. Like I just bought Marvel DVDs just so I could look at them. Like I never put them in.
Just the aesthetic of it.
Just so I could put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a collector's item. Like in terms of music as well.
Yeah.
Like in my lifetime, I have only ever bought one hard copy of an album.
Wow.
In my life, like just one.
Which one?
It was Eden's Vertigo.
Have you got any?
And that wasn't even on CD.
I have
on cassette.
I have one, but that was not gifted to me. But I can't. Yeah, it was kind of. And it's 50 cents. Get Rich or Die Trying. And even then, have I ever listened to it using that?
What are you gonna put it in?
Exactly.
If you're going to college,
I'm not gonna use it for. I'm not gonna use it for anything. You know what I'm saying? So.
Like you're gonna go college. You go. You watch it. You listen to the songs.
Yeah, you're not gonna take your Walkman with you, are you?
Innit? You know, you're listening to it on a bus.
Yeah.
You're not gonna give the CD to a bus driver.
No, exactly. You can't. Yeah.
Stick this on.
I mean, and the thing is, you know, he is saying that, but a lot of the other major figures, like, you know, in the music industry, I can only talk about really, like, you know, A Boogie himself, J. Cole, and all these mainstream artists, and Drake. I mean, they're absolutely kicking it, smashing it out of the park because of the streaming sales and because, you know, everything's just moving forward. I don't think
it's more clearer with the music industry than the film industry, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like,
but I think with time,
it will. I think in time it will, because like VR. If you can put your VR headset on and be in the cinemas on the moon, why would you go Cineworld?
I think in terms of VR, that's not going to take off. I think it's going to be a bit of a flash in the pan like 3D was/is. IMAX is great, but
why do you believe that, Finn? If you don't mind me.
I just see it as a bit of a gimmick. I don't see it as something you can really enjoy. Like, I don't think there's ever been a 3D film that I've watched that I haven't taken the glasses off halfway through to see what it looks like without.
3D different. But what about VR? What
VR,
would you think?
I mean, everything's seen as a gimmick before it blows up, doesn't it? If you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Everything's always seen. You know, when something new comes out, everybody's like mocking it. It's like, nah, that's
People
dead.
were saying iPhones were gimmicks when they came out.
Yeah, and now
Yeah,
look
that's
what the
what-
biggest
yeah,
branding
yeah.
thing is in the world. I mean, everywhere you go, there's an Apple sign that's been bitten.
And
you
the
know.
thing was VR, like, because it's so new, it's so expensive, and if it gets cheaper, we don't know how it's gonna. Like, it could blow up if it was cheaper.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Everything is, you know, made out to be a gimmick, or it's just there to take mick out of. But they do tend to be the ones that skyrocket. You know what I'm saying? But I guess that only comes with time.
I don't know. The way I see it is, it's similar to 3D. It's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
When it works well.
Yeah.
But oftentimes it doesn't work as well as people think it will.
I guess only time would really
Because,
be able
like-
to tell for me.
But yeah, I mean, I can't say for definite anything that's going to happen, but
Yeah.
in my opinion,
Yeah.
I think it is just going to be a bit of a flash in the pan. It's going to get bigger within the next 5 years and then die down. I definitely think the best way to watch a film is in the cinema, big screen, 2D, no glasses, 4K, Dolby surround sound. That is the ultimate way to watch films, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of people
Agree with that.
Would agree with that, yeah.
But you think that's because you like have a special liking, like you're not a casual moviegoer, innit?
No, I do understand that not everyone is sort of paying attention to the whole technical aspects of a cinema. They'll just go and it'll be the same everywhere for them.
Yeah.
So I suppose for me, as a bit of a cinema fan,
I'll put my hand up for that.
yeah, and sort of enjoying like the technical side to it as well.
Yeah.
I do look for that more. Like I look for which cinema has the better screen, which cinema has the better sound, and choose that rather than the one that's closest.
Do you think if Netflix uploaded a movie the same time a movie comes out in cinemas would still be in business?
Oh, what is it? You need to put it into context. Is it bang on the same?
The same day, like midnight, it comes out both Netflix. So you have
I mean,
to
that would
choose
fluctuate, wouldn't it? Because at midnight, obviously, the
Different
digital
countries.
side is going to
Yeah.
win.
I mean, to be fair though, Netflix don't put it anything. They don't often put it out at midnight. It's usually around.
I mean, like
8,
years from now. You know,
Yeah.
years from now, like you. So you wake up and you're like, you have to decide: shall I watch it at home or shall I watch it at cinemas? Will cinemas win every time?
Are we asking personally?
Personally,
I would definitely rather, if I just woke up, you put me into this mindset. No, I just woke up and I'm just lazy and it's a Friday, a long week of work or whatever. And I definitely, for me personally, I would way rather watch it on
Alright.
Netflix.
well, we've gone like way over time. We've got like 3 minutes left. So like, we wrap it up with what are our final thoughts on this? Thoughts
On this or everything we've spoken about?
on the Spielberg thing.
Yeah, I do think, again, I've reiterated, I do think we're falling into the digital era
Yeah.
way too quick. Not way too quick, but it's, it's there. The pathway is too open. And I think he's coming from the old school mindset that benefits him. So it doesn't take the magic away from the cinema itself,
Yeah.
in which he distributes his stuff. So, yeah, I just think, love it or hate it, like it,
It's gonna happen.
like it or dislike it, you can't stop it. It's going to happen.
I disagree with that. But like,
It's an inevitability, isn't it? It's just
it's
what's gonna
inevitable, but I don't want it to happen though.
Yeah.
At the same time.
happen. I mean,
And I don't know. I just always think there will be a place for it.
Yeah. There are always gonna be people like us. Like if they say if somebody says, oh, Indiana Jones is gonna they're gonna re-release it in cinemas for a week, you'd go to watch it there because it's a different experience than watching it.
Yeah,
at
that's
home.
what they're doing at Bradford IMAX at the moment. I think
They do it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're showing old 70mm films.
Yeah. So that was Movie Madness today with Heather and Mohsin and Finn.
thank you for having me on, dude.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome, no problem. Alright. So enjoy your evenings everybody, and we're gonna listen to Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra. So